If you're like me, you love playing and collecting video games. However, recently I've noticed a lot of things changing in this hobby of mine that I've enjoyed over the years. And one of those things is the fact that it's just become so goddamn expensive. Video games used to be something everyone could enjoy, as let's say 10 years ago, it was one of the cheapest hobbies to get into. You could go out and buy an original Xbox and a stack of games for $60 to $70. Nowadays, the original Xbox alone costs you $100, and don't even get me started on how much some of the games cost. Scalpers and resellers have absolutely ruined the retro gaming market and made it so you can no longer afford those classic games you used to play back in the day. Just as an example, this is my copy of Shadow the Hedgehog I bought for $6 in 2011. Now the game is $60 complete. Are you Hell, nowadays even stepping foot into a retro game store anymore is always a gamble, as you never know whether they be fair about their pricing or charge $60 for Madden 06. You think that's bad though? Just wait till you see the modern era of gaming, because it's far worse. First of all, console gaming is getting stupidly expensive for no reason, and you can shout tariffs all you want, and that is most likely the case, but no matter the reason, it's still absolutely insane, and we as the consumer have every right to complain. Just recently, at the time of me writing this video, the Xbox Series X and S have received their second ever price increase, with the Series X jumping up to an astounding $650 and the Series S going up to $400. Now, considering the experience these consoles give you and what their original price points were, $650 and $400 are insane prices that nobody should pay. Don't get me wrong, I love both of these systems, but they are not worth those asking prices. Keep in mind too, you still need Game Pass for online multiplayer, which costs $21 goddamn dollars a month, which is a scam in of itself. PlayStation is actively doing the same thing as well, charging $20 a month for online, plus they were also one of the first companies to do price increases on their systems this year. Hell, they're even charging you $750 for a PS5 Pro that is more powerful, sure, but it doesn't even come with a disk drive for that price. No, instead you have to go out and buy a disk drive separately. Why? We got a disk drive for $500. Why take it away and charge more? Oh yeah, because money. And if you thought that was egregious, the Switch 2 is approaching levels of expensiveness that shouldn't even be possible for a console. Now, the Nintendo Switch 2 costs $450 if you want it by itself without Mario Kart World. Fine, whatever. But once you add Mario Kart to that equation, it jumps up to $500. The Switch 2 is a great system and all, but it is absolutely not worth $500, and Mario Kart World does not justify that price point. Nintendo used to be the king of offering systems at budget prices for families who just wanted a gaming console. The Switch 1, for example, was $300 in 2017, which wasn't cheap by any means, but it at least meant that it was still affordable for families who wanted one, and it made sense for the specs and experience the console offered. Nobody complained about the Switch 1 price because it was fair. The Switch 2 price, on the other hand, is absolutely not fair, and that goes for the games as well. Now look, I can tolerate $70 for Donkey Kong Bonanza, as it's absolutely one of the best Nintendo games I've played in a while, but $80 for Mario Kart World is unjustifiably bad. In no shape or form is Mario Kart World worth $80, and Nintendo should be ashamed for thinking that price is okay to charge. Then there's the issue of Amiibo getting price increases all the way up to $50 at the highest, which is even more ridiculous. Amiibo used to cost like $12 to $15 and were worth it for what they were. Little plastic figurines that could be used in the games that they were meant for. But here's the thing, Amiibo were never utilized enough to warrant them costing any more than they did. If you're like me, you buy Amiibo to display them and very rarely use them for games. So for Nintendo to charge $40 to $50 for new Amiibo now is unacceptable. Now call me a hypocrite all you want because I bought a Switch 2, because technically you'd be right, but I'm still allowed to criticize Nintendo for their shitty business practices. I did not buy their awful welcome tour for $10, and I certainly did not spend $20 on Drag X Drive. I did, however, buy Mario Kart World because it looked fun, and I bought Donkey Kong Bonanza because it was well worth $70. As I said earlier in the video though, Mario Kart World is absolutely not worth $80, and I can say that after playing it extensively myself. Plus, me having bought a Switch 2 gives me more room to criticize Nintendo than you may think, having personally used the system myself and seen firsthand everything they've done with their greed. They even went as far to charge you more for the original Switch, which granted is better than paying increased prices for the Switch 2, but what about the struggling family who is maybe gonna buy their kid a Switch 1 for Christmas because they couldn't afford a Switch 2? Alright, none of that matters because fuck you and Nintendo needs more of your money. And on top of all of that, Nintendo has the gall to charge you $60 a year for GameCube, Game Boy Advance, N64, and Sega Genesis games. These are at least 20 to 30-year-old games, and Nintendo wants you to pay $60 a year for them. Oh, but hey, at least you get online multiplayer, right? A feature that should be free? Nintendo's even planning on adding Virtual Boy games to Switch Online, which can only be played if you buy a Virtual Boy for $100. Yeah, you heard me right. You need the Virtual Boy accessory to play Virtual Boy games on the system. Otherwise, you just can't play them. Don't worry though, there's a $25 cardboard version too in case you don't feel like dropping $100 on a Virtual Boy. The fact that the average person would need 2 jobs to be able to buy just 2 brand new video games a month is insane and should not be the case whatsoever. Now, I understand gaming is not a necessity, but it used to be more accessible for people who maybe wanted to get into it, or people who just couldn't afford to try other hobbies. Gaming should not be a luxury. It should be a hobby affordable to all. Not to mention, amidst all these price increases, physical media is dying rapidly, meaning as time goes on, you're inevitably going to be paying more for less. Hell, I already spent $50 on Yakuza 0 for the Switch 2, which comes as a game key card, effectively making it a paperweight without an internet connection. Mind you, Yakuza 0 is a 10-year-old video game and can be bought for $20 on digital marketplaces as well as $20 physically on PS4. And the worst part about all of this is that recently, games that have cost less than $70 have been higher quality than most in that higher price range. Elden Ring, Night Rain, and Expedition 33 were both $40 and $50 respectively, yet blow most recent $70 video games out of the water in terms of quality. Video games are expensive now, and that's the world we have to live in. Whether you're on console or on PC, everywhere you go, you're faced with increasing prices and expensive products. It's the sad reality of the world we live in, and unfortunately, I only see it getting worse from here. What used to be an affordable hobby for everyone to enjoy has now become a hobby that you can only enjoy if you have deep enough pockets, which is absolutely not how it should be. TLDR, don't let these companies rob you and go back to playing your old systems. I still take my PSP around with me everywhere I go, and it's 1,000 times more fun than using my Switch 2.